All right, I want to jump into this video real quickly. This video is kind of optional. The whole premise of these two videos was more about the looping and the iteration, but I think some people want to see how this wraps up. As we look at the problem, right, we've already solved the vast majority of the problem in the first video by running through those two loops, the indefinite loop and the definite loop. Here's where people get really caught up in the fear of this problem and this problem so overwhelming. We did a great deal of it, right, through those loops. And if we think about it, we've gathered all that information. Now, all we need to do is use the information that we gathered in the first part of the program, in the first looping of the program here. So let's break this down a little bit. Basically, they're saying that when they created these piles of Smarties, that's what we did in the first program. We created this pile of Smarties. And this individual basically eats 7 Smarties at a time. Well, think about that. Let's say I have, I'll have 24 blue Smarties. How many handfuls is that? Well, they tell you the maximum handful is 7 Smarties. So 24 would be, let's see, that would be 3 handfuls of 7 plus 1 handful of 3, right? 3. So 4 handfuls. We know from earlier chapters we can do floor division and modular logic. So all we need to find is the what do you call it? The dividend and the remainder. That's all we need to do. Then, and again, it can be a lot simpler once you really start thinking about it. If I have a pile of 24 blue Smarties, how many handfuls is that? Well, there are 3 handfuls of 7 Smarties and 1 handful of 3 Smarties. So a total of 4 handfuls. And they say down here that each handful takes 13 seconds. All right. We can figure that one out. And then when we get to the red Smarties, they say each individual red Smartie takes 16 seconds. They must really enjoy those red Smarties. We've all done that. We've done these as kids and stuff like that. We kind of divvied up portions. So even though the logic looks very complicated, we have most of the heavy lifting is done, just kind of sorting the Smarties. So now it's time to program how long it takes to eat these Smarties. All right, let's take a look at this screen. I am not going to start from a blank screen. Let's work as quickly as possible here. This particular program does what? If you remember from the first video, it goes through 10 boxes of Smarties and counts the number of each colors of those Smarties. Now we have to add to it. And if you remember, they said, okay, we're going to eat our Smarties one color at a time, basically taking, hold on one second, just bringing up my notes. Basically, we could only eat 7 Smarties at a time. It takes 13 seconds to eat 7 of them. But yet, when we get to the red Smarties, we are eating them at 16 seconds per Smartie. All right. Well, we've done most of the heavy lifting already. Most of the heavy lifting, we calculated the number, or we counted the number of Smarties in a box. So now we have to figure out the time, the total time. And we're going to put a variable up here. We're going to figure out total time per box. So this would be a great place to put the total time and assign it to 0. It doesn't have any value to it right now. So every box, we're going to get a new total of time to create those Smarties. Where is that done? Well, it's done right around after this. We've done all those calculations. So this would be a great place to figure out our total time. And what is our total time? Well, think about this. Total time is going to be equal to total time plus, we'll say orange Smarties divided by, or floor divided by 7. All right. Times 13. 13. Now, what's this going to do? If you remember this, it's going to divide Orange Smarties by 7. That's the handful we can eat. And it's going to return the dividend. And then we're going to multiply that dividend by 13. So again, if I have 24 Orange Smarties, divide floor division by 7, we're going to have 3 handfuls of 7. All right. What about the remaining 3 Smarties? Well, that's going to take us 13 seconds. So what we can do here is we can say if Orange Smarties, and we'll do our doodle here, is 7. If that is greater than 0, all right, let's read this out. I scroll up a little bit. So we figured out the total number of handfuls of 7, all right? So if I have 24, we do floor division, that's going to give us 3 handfuls of 7, multiply that by 13. Each handful takes 13 seconds, so this is going to give us our remainder. This logic basically gives us our remainder. If we have a remainder, then what do? We say total time, spell it right, Nick, is going to be equal to total time plus 13. You might be asking, why don't we do multiplication? Why should we? We just have a remainder of 1 to 6, so we just kind of add an additional 13 there. So look at that logic. That's basically it. We've been doing this our entire lives. We have a pile of candy. We only eat 7 at a time. We're going to end up with 4 handfuls if we only have 24. To save time, I'll use my friend copy and paste for all the other Smarties, except the reds. Make sure all my indentation lines up. So I'm going to do the exact same calculation for each and every one of these different colors. Could I make it more efficient? Yeah, but I'm just kind of using this as an example. Finally, we have to get down to the red Smarties, right? And the red Smarties are going to be total time is going to equal total time plus red Smarties times 16. Now, what is that doing? It's taking 16 seconds per Smartie, not groups of 7 here. So that's an easier addition. Takes 16 seconds for each individual red Smartie. We basically say the total time, which we calculated from up here, is going to be equal to total time plus 16 times the number of red Smarties. And then finally, let's print this out. And we'll say print time, spell it right, Nick, time to eat entire box is, and then we're going to typecast total time, because remember, total time is an integer. And you know what? We'll make it a little bit fancier. We'll say plus space seconds. All right. So let me go through this real quickly one more time. We basically take the number of Smarties, divide them by 7. That's our number of handfuls plus anything that could be remaining. Let's say we have 21 Smarties, and it's only going to take us 3 handfuls. We don't have the remainder. And that's what this logic does here. Basically finds the dividend, and then basically finds the remainder, multiply the dividend by 13, take the remainder, just add 13. We do it to 16, and then we eventually print this out. Now, let me scroll over here, and let's do the 10 boxes. So our logic is going to be, our command is going to be Python main py redirect the information from 10 boxes, spell it right, Nick, txt. And there we go. Now, my formatting's a little bit off, and that's going to drive me crazy. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove this line here, and I'll put it down here. Make it a little bit nicer. Let's try it again. Oh, because my indentation. You can see how important indentation is. Okay. So box 0, orange Smarties, da 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 da. Time to eat the entire box is 329 seconds. All right. There's, there is the problem. Right? If I bring the problem back up, give me a second here. It was on another screen. But there's the problem. Quick review on this. Basically, it says when I eat Smarties and all that other stuff, they take the Smarties and they divide them up into different colors, and then they count those different colors. We did that. We did that with those loops. We were able to count each individual pile of Smarties. After that, then this logic kicked in. It said, it takes 13 seconds per 7 or per handful, and a handful is 7 or less. And then down here, this logic says we're going to open up 10 boxes, and the boxes could have anywhere between 50 to 200. This is a fairly complex problem. But you can see by breaking it down into small manageable parts, really looking for things. And now we're looking at programs that, one part of the program does one thing, another part of the program does another. Well, all right, wrap of the videos, the 2 videos here. These 2 videos were more about loops and some of the problems out there that you can solve on your own and things like that. It was a little enjoyable, thinking about Smarties and candies and things like that. So with everything being done, everything being said, 2 very long videos are done. Thanks, and let's go out and learn something.